Hey there, Bentley students. My name's Dana Goldberg, and I'm a doctoral psychology trainee at Bentley University's Counseling Center. Today, we're going to talk about marijuana. In this video, I want to cover what marijuana is, how and why marijuana is used. Along the way, I want to help clarify what we really know about marijuana and what we might not, including the perceived benefits and scientifically supported risks which come with use. Then, I want to discuss how to identify marijuana abuse and dependency and what resources are available to you should you want to talk about, reduce, or quit marijuana use altogether. First, let's talk about what marijuana is. Marijuana, often referred to as weed, pot, herb, or ganja, is a naturally derived substance from the cannabis plant. There are thought to be two common subspecies of the cannabis plant, cannabis sativa and cannabis indica, each differing by plant shape, size, and different effects of use. Though, the people who study plants do not support such a distinction. Instead, what research does agree on is that there are THC dominant, CBD dominant, and mixed varieties of cannabis. What this suggests is that the effects of a particular strain of cannabis, or plant type, are far less predictable than is commonly perceived, and that the expected effects of a cannabis strain may be susceptible to variability even across plants of the same name. The two primary active ingredients in cannabis flower is THC and CBD. However, there are over 400 other chemicals present in cannabis, and 60 of these are cannabinoid compounds, the chemicals which interact with our mind and body causing various effects. Cannabis is a unique compound as it is considered a stimulant, a depressant, and a mild hallucinogen all in one. THC is typically considered what makes someone feel high. It tends to decrease our brain activity at low dosage and excite our brain activity at high dosage. CBD, on the other hand, is a non-intoxicating compound which research shows may have anti-anxiety, antipsychotic, anti-inflammatory, and antidepressant effects, therefore counteracting some of the negative effects of THC. However promising, though, research is still ongoing on how CBD may benefit or pose risk to one's health. Next, let's talk about how marijuana is used. Cannabis comes in many forms, each with its own method of consumption, potency, and related risks. First, there's flower, often referred to as bud, one of the more common forms of cannabis, with CBD ranging from 0 to 15% and THC ranges from 0 to 30. When consuming cannabis in this form, you must be cautious of bacteria, molds, fungi, flavorings, and other adulterants. Next, there's concentrates, also called wax, shatter, dabs, or oil. This has THC values ranging from 40 to 80%. Concentrates are commonly made with chemical solvents such as BHO or butane hash oil, though solventless concentrates are also possible. When consuming this form of cannabis, you must be cautious of leftover solvents or chemical contaminants. This form of cannabis is particularly high in potency, and consequently, this increases the risks of experiencing side effects. In addition to concentrates, there's also edibles and tinctures with CBD and THC values ranging from 0 to 500 milligrams. When consuming this form of cannabis, you must exercise caution due to potentially high potency, different absorption rates, longer lasting effects, and higher risk of accidental ingestion, making this form of cannabis responsible for the highest rate of hospitalizations. And finally, vaping, with THC and CBD values ranging from 0 to 95%. These are typically diluted concentrates, and you must exercise caution when ingesting this form of cannabis due to a risk of lung injury from black market cartridges. This being because there's no way to know the contents of cartridges without testing, and recent advances in the black market have led to fake testing reports, fake branding, fake dispensary stickers, and has even landed some fake cartridges in dispensaries. So this brings us to our next topic. Why is marijuana used? As you might know, marijuana is typically consumed for two reasons. First, for recreational use, or to get high, and second, for the plant's medicinal properties. When consumed, the active ingredient THC may make the user feel relaxed, amused, giggly, and euphoric, instilling a sense of creativity and increasing your hunger. While some of these effects, such as euphoria and hunger, can be explained by the effects of THC on your cannabinoid receptors, these other effects have yet to be explained by science. But there's more. Due to THC being far less selective on how it acts on your neurons, THC can also come with a host of side effects. Consumption of THC may lead to impaired motor coordination, drowsiness, racing thoughts, rapid heartbeat, paranoia, anxiety, panic, dissociation, and mild hallucinations. Ongoing side effects, such as a temporary decrease in short-term memory, interference with long-term memory storage, amotivation, and hangover in the form of irritability, depression, insomnia, anxiety, loss of appetite, and grogginess or brain fog, are all symptoms that can be expected. With higher doses and consistent use of THC, the risk of experiencing these side effects tends to increase. Where then does the perception of cannabis as safer or beneficial to health come from? Well, this is where more selective cannabinoids come in. CBD, as mentioned earlier, has been demonstrated to have some possible medicinal application. When present in cannabis, CBD may partially negate some of the side effects of THC. However, more promising in medical literature, isolated CBD demonstrates higher potential for medicinal use without the impairment and negative side effects of THC. Additionally, many people consider marijuana to be safer due to the belief that you cannot overdose and die, which is true, and that you can't become addicted, which is not. While stopping prolonged heavy marijuana use may not be as life-threatening as some other substances, and the effects of halting use may not be immediate due to THC molecules' long half-life, addiction and mental or physical dependence are both real risks of marijuana use. A quick note on medical and recreational marijuana. While the effects of CBD are certainly promising when it comes to their potential medical benefits, the FDA has not yet approved CBD for public consumption, and there is then less oversight into the quality and quantity of CBD in a product. Keep in mind that these products have only been in the market since hemp and CBD's legalization in 2018. Similarly, cannabis is illegal federally and only recently made illegal in many states, with national guidelines for quality, quantity, and how to test for purity of cannabis not yet established. In addition, in Massachusetts, it's still illegal for individuals under the age of 21 to smoke cannabis, and it's strictly prohibited on Bentley's campus. With how new many of these changes in legal status are, much of the research we have is also new and may only be applicable with those with certain conditions. That is, choosing to use cannabis under the assumption it is healthier or may even provide health benefits may be misguided. It's important to consult with your doctor should you have any health concerns. This leads us to the question, in what way is marijuana use dangerous? Well, when it comes to the dangers of marijuana use, shock and awe campaigns have traditionally been used to deter individuals from marijuana use, with little success. It's important to recognize that there are scientifically backed dangers which accompany the use of marijuana, and being aware of these dangers is an important component of deciding your stance on marijuana use. Some dangers of use are very evident. You may have heard about some of these in the news. There's a pneumonia-like lung disease, EVALI, which became widespread due to cutting in black market vape cartridges. Further, synthetic cannabinoids, such as spice and K2, have been shown to cause psychosis, mania, seizures, and erratic behavior. Though synthetic cannabinoids are certainly different from cannabis, research on individuals with genetic predispositions, such as if you have a family member with these conditions, have shown smoking or using mind-altering substances greatly increases your risk of experiencing a psychotic or manic episode, especially in those heavily or regularly using marijuana. Marijuana use also holds more moderate risks, such as impaired memory, reduced interest in previously enjoyed activities, and decreased efficiency and productivity, with research demonstrating a correlation between decreased GPA and attendance with marijuana use. However, initially mild in infrequent or low-dose users, these symptoms are likely to build with more frequent and heavier use. Since these effects build slowly and gradually over time, some frequent users fail to recognize how they may have become, often confusing marijuana-induced impairment with their own nature, personality, or abilities, often with these effects being explained away or going unnoticed. Further, frequent use of marijuana has been shown to lead to withdrawal, dependence, and increased tolerance. These factors combined may lead to increased use due to tolerance or use to avoid withdrawal. While less chemically addictive than many harder drugs such as heroin or chronic alcohol abuse, you can still experience unpleasant physical and psychological withdrawal symptoms following cessation from ongoing or heavy use, such as skin crawling, insomnia, increased depression, and anxiety. Though it's important to note that most users do not become addicted to marijuana with infrequent use. However, a minority of users will become psychologically and emotionally dependent on marijuana after extended use. Even if these conditions do not lead to increased marijuana use, there's one other possibly deceptively mild side effect of marijuana use. Part of the euphoric experience of getting high is the release of dopamine in the reward center of the brain. Even infrequent but sustained use may alter the brain's prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, reward, and pleasure. This effect may be even more pronounced for users below the age of 25. This part of your brain is what helps an individual feel reward from new achievements, rewarding relationships, sexual pleasure, and much more. This effect may lead users to experience less pleasure from the natural rewards of life, prompting them to become more depressed and fueling an addictive cycle as some users are driven to use ever-increasing amounts of marijuana to experience their chronically induced happiness, or even just to feel normal. With all of this in mind, it's important to weigh the cost of smoking with the perceived benefits of use, bearing in mind the time it may take for possible side effects to subside, any lost opportunity which may occur, and for college students, how these side effects may impact academic performance, class attendance, and professional development. So this brings up our final question. What is dependency or abuse, and how would you know if it might be time to rethink your relationship with pot? Dependence or abuse is when use becomes difficult to stop, begins to consume your life, or begins to lead to distress or impairment. Here are some questions which might help you to identify if your relationship with marijuana may have become unhealthy. Have you or others around you become concerned with how much marijuana you use? Have you tried to quit or reduce use but failed? Have you found yourself smoking after telling yourself that you wouldn't? Do you need to smoke much more than you used to get high? Have you noticed withdrawal symptoms after having ran out or not having access to marijuana? Do you experience worry or panic about running out? Have you stopped doing things that you normally enjoy? Are you using it in situations which may be harmful or dangerous? Are you driving under the influence? Are you using during work or class? Are you so frequently intoxicated that you're finding it hard to get important things done? Can you only get things done when you're high? Do you find yourself spending more and more time seeking out using or recovering from the effects of use? And do you feel like you need marijuana to manage yourself, your life, your emotions, or your sleep? If you're answering yes to these questions, you may be becoming addicted to marijuana, and you'll likely benefit from reducing your use. Some problematic users are able to reduce use to a healthier level, while others struggle to manage their use and may need to quit entirely. Let's say that in reflecting on some of these questions, you may feel you want to decrease use. What might your options be? Here are some creative ideas to help decrease the amount of marijuana you may be using. Consider for what reason you are using cannabis. List out reasons why you would like to cut down. Take a tea break or a tolerance break. Commit to not smoking for a period of 30 days or more as an experiment. If you're not addicted, then you should be able to do this no problem. Practice self-management or decreasing use per session. Make a plan to reduce use over time with specific goals. Buy less to smoke less, ensuring that you do not return to buy more and setting a limit for yourself. Make it more difficult for yourself to use. Delete your dear list phone number, give your bowl, papers, or bong to a friend, and tell them that you're taking a break for 30 days. Sign up for activity during a time your smoking friends get together. Ask your smoking friends not to offer you marijuana for 30 days. Switch to a CBD dominant strain and don't increase your use to compensate. Or replace your cannabis smoking with a hemp-based CBD strain that's THC free. If in reflection you have decided that it may be time to end your relationship with marijuana, how might you begin to do that and what resources may be available? First, know why you want to stop and accept that doing so will be both difficult and uncomfortable and that you're going to do it anyway. Decide how. You can titrate or slowly reduce your use until you stop. You can try replacing with something such as a hemp-based CBD strain or go cold turkey. Identify triggers and plan ahead to avoid them. This may mean changing up your routine and maybe even your relationships. Find replacement activities. Enlist the support of friends and family. Finally, get help if needed, either through the counseling center, self-help resources, or seeking outside clinical help of a trained substance abuse specialist. There's no shame in seeking help. We are here for you. Our staff at the Counseling Center are happy to talk with you about your marijuana use and help you decide if and what changes are to be made, and to make sure to connect you with whatever supports and resources will best empower you to do so. If you're feeling overwhelmed or that you may need help in reducing your use or quitting, you can reach the Counseling Center at 781-891-2274 to make an appointment. We're open 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. Thanks for tuning in. This was Real Talk Marijuana with Dana Goldberg. I hope that this video has been both helpful and informative. Feel free to explore our other video series on Bentley University's Counseling Center's YouTube page for more excellent health and wellness tips, tricks, and information.